Support for exploring the American spirit provided by Blumenthal Law Offices. Serving Southern California clients for more than 40 years, the Blumenthal Law Team, headed by attorney Virginia Blumenthal, is devoted to defending the rights of the accused. More information is online at blumenthalllawoffices.com.
Hello, I'm Mary Parks. While we use many words to describe the American spirit, such as commitment, perseverance, resilience, generosity, and passion, the truth is the American spirit at its best is the feeling we get when we see it in action or share in the experience of learning how we help each other. Our goal with this program is to bring you the inspiring stories we've found that demonstrate the American spirit, or better put, that have found us. You see, the American spirit takes place all around us. We want to help you connect with the individuals and organizations that are busy every day making an impact, solving problems, and meeting needs. I'll be your guide on this incredible journey, so pull up your chair, relax, and prepare to be inspired. This is one of the music rooms at Santa Monica High School. When the morning bell rings, nearly 100 students will pile in, pick up their instruments, and begin to make magic. It's a combination of talent, curiosity, and discipline that brings these students here. That and a love of music. Arya Shapuri treasures his place with the orchestra, a stepping stone, he says, to one day compose film scores.
When I was in 8th grade, I was practicing really hard because I have so many friends here in Symphony who have, told me about how great this program is. And so I practiced really hard, and then I learned we're going to play in Europe. And then it hit me. This is like a professional orchestra. So I've worked harder than I've ever had before to secure a spot in this symphony, knowing that this would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
That amazing opportunity would indeed be the trip of a lifetime, traveling to famed concert halls abroad to perform as an American high school symphony orchestra. Mira Baum tells us the same story of practicing for hours on end to perfect her clarinet playing.
Well, I've never been to that part of Europe before. But I've never been to Paris, and the chance to play in the Royal Concertgebouw in Amsterdam, which is one of the most amazing halls in the world, is, especially for someone who doesn't want to study music in college, it's so incredible to have that opportunity.
One of the most famous concert halls in the world with unparalleled acoustics, the Royal Concertgebouw was built in the late 1800s, before the science of acoustics was even developed. Its list of legendary concerts is long and illustrious, with names like Richard Strauss, Louis Armstrong, Sting, and Vladimir Horowitz having performed there. Together with its house orchestra, the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra has been voted the best orchestra in the world. So it stands to reason that Joni Swenson, the woman twice named Music Educator of the Year in California, would strive to earn a coveted spot for her high school symphony to perform at Concertgebouw. Swenson has been the symphony orchestra director for 14 years at Santa Monica High. A graduate of UCLA, she taught for decades across California. Swenson has served as guest conductor for many honor orchestras, and she remains humble and points to her students as the reason the music program is so rich in talent and opportunity.
They are very talented. I have an amazing group of dedicated, committed, and smart and very talented kids.
So talented, in fact, they've traveled and played in other concert halls abroad in years past. In 2013, for example, the high school symphony performed in Europe with a stop in Prague. Traveling to Europe again meant months and months of fundraising and endless preparation. The 2016 concert trip was about to occur thanks to a vibrant partnership of the school district, parents, and the city of Santa Monica.
On March 23rd, our symphony orchestra, comprised of about 83 students, was going to travel to Paris and do a concert in Paris, and then go through Bruges in Belgium, and then eventually end up at the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam. So the Concertgebouw is considered to be one of the best concert venues in the world, and it was just a big thrill.
But on the morning of March 22, 2016, 3 coordinated bombings occurred in Belgium, 2 at Brussels airport. Suicide bombers carrying explosives in large suitcases attacked a departure hall. Roughly an hour later, 6 miles from the airport, another explosion took place in the middle carriage of a 3-carriage train at the metro station. In these attacks, 32 victims and 3 perpetrators were killed, and over 300 people were injured. Among the fatalities, 2 Americans.
There is a great deal of confusion here. Certainly, there are a number of, as you might imagine, very upset, very frightened people.
Another bomb was later found during a search of the airport. The bombings were the deadliest act of terrorism in Belgium's history. The government declared 3 days of national mourning. Halfway around the world, some of California's most talented young musicians, the Santa Monica High School Symphony Orchestra, got word the acts of violence had a direct impact on their lives.
Because of those bombings and attacks, our trip was canceled.
Can you describe reaction from the students at that point and yourself?
It was shock, disappointment. An email had been sent to them saying that, because of the safety concern, they had to cancel the trip. This was the superintendent and the principal. And I sent a follow-up email telling the kids, we won't rehearse, but if you want to come to school and commiserate, we can. So we met that afternoon. It was about 12 noon. And I didn't expect so many students to show up, but almost all the students and many of the parents showed up. And there was a lot of tears, a lot of disappointment.
Were they angry?
I think some of them, it was kind of a whole series. It was at first disbelief. Is this really happening? And then maybe a little bit of anger, but also a lot of compassion is what I felt that I was getting from the kids when they came in, and one of the kids said, I think we should do a benefit concert.
The kids were clear. You can't stop the music. Their performance would go on. Not in Paris or Belgium as planned, but in Los Angeles at Disney Concert Hall. Determination, perseverance, helping others, all examples of the American spirit. Since second grade, Gabe and Francis have been playing the violin and flute. Instead of getting angry over the canceled trip, they agreed to help the orchestra channel their music into an instrument of positive action. Their future concert would benefit the International Red Cross for victims of violence.
Between the part where we announced the Disney Hall concert and the actual announcement of the attack, we thought, what happened? What was going to happen? So all of us were very distraught. We were very, what were we going to do? Because we had, a whole 2-week break where we had it free, and just for this trip. And so everyone was kind of just scrambling to make plans, and it was kind of a mess.
The orchestra members, though, turned their disappointment into positive action.
And it all came from, one person, and we all just took the idea, and we took it to heart, because, that's the whole point behind this, is to make music. So if not there, why not here?
So the practicing and planning shifted into high gear. For some members, this would be bittersweet. Roughly a dozen seniors would graduate high school in 2016 and would never again have the chance to perform in Europe with this orchestra.
I remember kind of being scared when I learned about the act and about the event. I was kind of paranoid and anxious to see what would happen. But then when the actual email came out, that's when it was like the big letdown.
But the big letdown has kind of turned into something really cool now.
It has, yeah. After much disappointment, it's like really exciting, and it's really I want to say like exhilarating to have this opportunity to do something. You know, we were going to go to Europe and play for people, but now we get to play like for people, and we get to make this bigger difference. That's, you know, that helps people, and it's much bigger than what we had initially planned, because it's, you know, aiding these people who need our help, and I think that's a really good cause.
Talk to me a little bit about your music in general, and everyone in this orchestra, the importance of music in your lives.
Music, for me, music plays a really big role in my life, and I know everyone in this orchestra values music so much. I mean, you can hear it like when we have soloists playing a solo, or when we all have this one big theme, and sometimes you can just hear, like, you can hear the silent awe in the room when people play, and you just, I mean, I've cried so many times just listening to people, and I can hear and I can feel the emotion in the room that is happening when you listen to these people putting their emotions and their feelings into their music. And I think that was really special, especially in the program that we were going to play.
I'm an outsider looking in, but what I've observed is the connection that Joni has to all of you students. Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. We're so incredibly lucky and so blessed to have such like a caring, and like she just puts so much effort and so much care, and she just, you know that this is like, we're her really big family and she's a part of ours. And I think that's what makes, again, what you said about music and this whole orchestra, is that like what binds us kind of all together, because she's like everyone in this orchestra is from different groups and different organizations, but like this orchestra with Miss Swenson as our director really helps us like get together, and she puts a lot of motivation and emotion, and she really sparks this love. And
I can see that.
Yeah, sorry.
What's the significance of not stopping the music here, of continuing this performance? What kind of message are we sending?
I'm hoping that we're sending the message that these kids are resilient, that they experienced something in their lifetime. I mean, they're going to remember back, you know, on this incident and say, hopefully, that they were able to make a difference.
Although the students were heartbroken about the cancellation, they clearly understood this was minor compared to the bombings.
One of the things I think that we can really hold on to is, although we didn't get to go on the trip, we did all this work. We still can say that we successfully put together a concert that was ready for the Royal Concertgebouw. And although we're not going to be able to play there
this time,
we can still play at an awesome venue like Disney Hall and be able to show that we did put in this work. It wasn't for nothing.
I was distraught. I was kind of, maybe just a little bit frustrated. But then I realized that we lost our tour when some people lost their lives, lost their families' lives, lost their limbs. So I feel like doing this benefits concert is really the least that we can do, because all we lost is, maybe playing in the Concertgebouw is something that is once in a lifetime, and we didn't get to play it, but
you may one day.
I may one day, I may go there and see it, and I think that the practice that we did really brought people together. I've met people that I didn't know before. I've had such a great year. I think that we need to help around where we can.
To me, the important part is remembering how privileged we are to live here where we do, where we're safe. And our only encounter with this was through not being able to travel, where there are some people who didn't even get to go home that day. So I find it really powerful to be able to do something to help and give back with this music that we spent so long preparing.
Just days before the violence and canceled trip, students performed locally some of the musical pieces they'd practiced so hard to master.
The music we're playing is about overcoming violence. Scheherazade is a piece about a woman whose life was threatened, and she told stories and shared art to save her life and the lives of the other women who were being threatened. And I think that that's such an important message, is that while everything sucks and can be really hard sometimes, there's still light and there's still beauty that we can find. And I hope that when people hear our music, they get that.
Even though there are no plans to reschedule the Royal Concertgebouw trip, in the end, love of music and mankind prevailed. Students raised more than $5,000 to help victims of violence by doing what they love best.
As disappointing as this may be for me, there's so much other pain going on, especially in Brussels, where we were supposed to be. And yeah, I think Bernstein said it best. He said, "This will be our response to violence, to make music more passionately, more devotedly, and more beautifully than ever before."
For the fourth year in a row, a California group of volunteers held its Back to School drive inside a high school gymnasium. Table after table was filled with enough supplies to help 2,500 families. Some low income, others homeless families living in shelters or in cars on the street.
Today we're going to be giving out backpacks for kids, underprivileged kids who can't afford it. And we're going to be giving shoes, backpacks, and other little goodies.
And typically, you've done this more than once. What's the response?
A lot of grateful children, a lot of grateful parents. You know, I myself am one of the participants, volunteers and participants. And I'm grateful for everything that everyone does here. Are you ready for school? You like school?
Nearly all of the back-to-school supplies came from donations by caring individuals and Southern California businesses. Those on the receiving end simply had to send an email via Facebook to a growing group of caring volunteers known as Random Act of Kindness. Outside, families began lining up long before the doors were scheduled to open. A mother of 3, Catarina Gomez, was among the first in line.
I'm here in this wonderful morning in this school. So I consider this school is a wonderful school, helping people, helping all of the children in this area. I am thankful for that, and thankful for everyone who support this school to help all of the people. God bless all of you.
In a few moments, Gomez and hundreds of others will go shopping to select backpacks, shoes, socks, and school supplies for their children, and in some cases, grandchildren.
What's in those bags?
These are mechanical pencils, blue pens, red pens, black pens, regular pencils.
Look at all these.
Erasers, glue sticks, crayons for the younger kids.
Exploring the American Spirit learned of the back-to-school effort from Jane Rodriguez. She and other volunteers here operate on the premise that being kind is contagious, an example of the American spirit in action.
Well, it started about 3 years ago. John Gordon, who started the Random Act of Kindness Facebook page, decided he wanted to give out backpacks to the community. And I believe the first year it started with only a few hundred backpacks. Last year we did 1,600 backpacks, 1,300 pairs of shoes. This year we have 2,500 backpacks in this room, and I believe 1,600 or 1,700 pairs of shoes, maybe more. There was more shopping being done yesterday. And just really feeling for kids in the community, low-income kids, parents who may have been laid off or for whatever reason on disability, or they don't have money to go and get their kids shoes, school supplies, and their backpacks. We just want them to go and actually feel good about themselves on the first day of school rather than...
That's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thinking back to when I was that age and going to school, I was raised by a single mom, so knowing that I was going to school with clothes on my back was good enough for me, but a lot of these kids, they get made fun of for whatever reason, their height, their weight, and if they have a new pair of shoes, maybe that'll make them feel a little bit better about themselves. Maybe it'll give them a little bit of self-esteem to say, hey, you know what, I may be a little bit bigger than you, or I may be a little bit smaller than you, but I'm still coming to school with, good pair of shoes on my feet. And
new stuff.
Yeah, exactly, new stuff. A lot of kids don't get new stuff, so we really just wanted to help them out with that.
This is John Gordon. Don't be fooled by the tattooed, bearded, bald biker look. Gordon is a gentle soul and the man behind the wildly famous social media effort, Random Act of Kindness.
Initially, it started out as just a Facebook group to have somewhere where people can come to get a good news feed, a good feeling from, So I got to the point where I was tired of waking up and going through my news feed and just reading about violence, and you wonder if there's anything good going on anymore. So I figured maybe start a little Facebook page where we could share what was good going on, and it's just been an avalanche. So then, it's turned into like a club and a family, and it's pretty neat.
In fact, the Random Act of Kindness Facebook page now has 43,000 members. Helping the homeless, wounded military veterans, and giving money to families battling cancer are some of the random acts of kindness found on the group's Facebook page.
The feeling is rewarding, and I was that kid at one time, that needed a little bit of extra help and the boost, and so it's just nice to pass that along. So the reward from doing something nice far exceeds, like a cash reward or your payment at work or your paycheck. The paycheck you get from these kids' faces, once you feel it a couple times, it's an addiction. It's better than any kind of buzz I've heard of or experienced, I'll tell you that.
In a tearful twist, it was Gordon's Random Act of Kindness Facebook page that led him to a sister he'd never met. One post led to another in his search for family separated decades earlier. It was their big hearts to help others that reunited John Gordon with his sister Audra and 2 other siblings.
My entire life I'd never met my father, just through circumstances, or 3 sisters that I have. And they found me because a mutual friend in Southern California was in the group. My sister in Oregon joined the group and then happened to see my name. And it's one of those things, like, she knew she had a brother named John Gordon somewhere, so curiosity, she clicked my name and creeped on my Facebook, and then slowly, things stalked me, and luckily, and then things started adding up. We had actually searched for each other with detectives before, and just to no success. I've searched on Facebook for them, and I actually creeped other people's Facebooks looking for my sisters and my dad, and just to no avail. And then
it's okay.
And it's just neat too, because the reward you know, starting the page, all the good stuff that's come of it. I never really expected it to, like come around to me, you know. She is good at making people cry.
Please, because if you don't, I'm going to.
I know, I can give you a hug. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's neat. Well, I'd say it's neat. I got okay. So, you know, like all the homeless people that are helped on the page and stuff too, we're always reconnecting with their families. So many times people are like, oh my God, I've seen my dad that we lost in California 20 years ago on your guys' page. It's happened 10 times. So there's a little part of you that's always like, man, what if that happened to me or something? But you know, it's like, just like when you're thinking about the lottery, you know, like, you know, but you realize it's like, it's a fantasy. It's not a reality. There's no way that this could be your reality, you know.
Random Act of Kindness has a unique partnership with school districts to provide clothes and school supplies for homeless and foster students.
So the homeless student population was close to 3,000 for the 2015-16 school year.
How is that possible?
Well, you know, it's a sign of the times. You have many families that, for one reason or another, either they've lost their employment, they have been evicted. You know, you have instances of domestic violence. So it happens, and it's just, you know, it's part of the it's the new normal.
Homeless and a single mom, Sheena Heidi tells us little things make a huge difference, like a simple backpack with pencils and paper that put smiles on the faces of her 4 children. That, says Kirsten Stuckey, is the reason so many volunteers offer their time, simply to see a child smile.
Seeing the pictures that people post of the kids, you know, people will get pictures of the kids that maybe I didn't see because I was, you know, over here, and people post pictures of kids with the biggest smiles on their faces, and that's the biggest joy and the biggest reward, is seeing the kids being so happy over their brand new stuff that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
The objective of Random Act of Kindness is simply to share, inspire, and spread kindness. That's the American spirit.
We hope you enjoyed today's American Spirit stories. I can tell you how humbled we are each and every time we learn about what is being accomplished in our communities by the generous acts of the individuals we profile. Amazingly, our greatest challenge is deciding which stories we have time to tell and which ones must wait for another day. It's actually rewarding and inspiring to know there are so many amazing people doing such great things for our communities. Please join us again as we continue exploring the American spirit. I'm Mary Parks.